Kodak Gold. No other film gives you truer, more consistent color, picture after picture.
Welcome to MsMojo.
And today, we're counting down our picks for the major brands that have disappeared or are much harder to find than they once were.
Next time you're on the internet, go to the new Netscape.com.
Number 30. Palm. Before smartphones came along, the Palm Pilot was the ultimate in wireless tech.
Check out this Palm handheld from CompUSA. It manages your calendar, gets email.
Palm PDAs, that's personal data assistants, were revolutionary, allowing users to connect to the internet from anywhere. That might sound unimpressive now, but when the Pilot 1000 was introduced in 1996, it was a big deal. The handheld device was similar to a smartphone, though its screen was grayscale and it used a stylus rather than a touchscreen.
It's actually a real computer that happens to be the most popular handheld computer there is right now. Got about 11 million people using them out there.
But it had familiar apps like email and even included a feature similar to AirDrop, which allowed users to send info to other pilots. When smartphones started to take off in the 2010s, Palm tried to pivot, but it just couldn't keep up with Apple. Production of the PDAs was discontinued in 2011. Number 29. Lehman Brothers. This investment bank was a cornerstone of global finance. Founded by Henry Emanuel and Mayor Lehman in Alabama in the 1840s, the business started as a dry goods store before transitioning to commodities trading.
It was a manic Monday in the financial markets. The Dow tumbled more than 500 points after two pillars of the street tumbled over the weekend. Lehman Brothers, a 158-year-old firm, filed for bankruptcy.
Eventually, it grew to become the fourth largest investment firm in the U.S. However, in the 2000s, the company made the fatal mistake of going all in on subprime mortgages. When the housing bubble popped and the economy collapsed in 2008, Lehman Brothers went down with it. It filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and its assets were liquidated.
Brought down by bad mortgage investments, Lehman, which has 25,000 employees, will be liquidated.
It's hard to feel sorry for execs who raked in hundreds of millions while costing other people their houses, jobs, and retirement funds. Pop culture wasn't too kind to Lehman Brothers as a result. Number 28. Borders. The internet has not been kind to brick-and-mortar retail stores, especially bookstores.
Borders provides a broad selection of books, music, and DVDs.
With the rise of Amazon and e-readers, far fewer people are shopping for books in person, and stores are forced to adapt or die. Borders was founded in 1971 in Ann Arbor, Michigan by brothers Tom and Louis Borders. After opening their second location in 1985, the business took off, ballooning to more than 1,200 stores by 2003 and expanding all over the world.
The company became a pioneer of the big box bookseller concept. At its peak in 2003, Borders had more than 1,200 stores around the country, each with thousands of new titles.
Unfortunately, 2006 was the last year the company turned a profit, and it filed for bankruptcy in 2011. You can still visit a Borders bookstore, but you'll have to travel to the Middle East to do it. Number 27. Hummer. In the 90s and early 2000s, Hummers were a bit like Cybertrucks today. They were extremely conspicuous, not terribly practical, and people had strong opinions about them.
Seeing the hulking proportions of a Hummer H2 SUV sitting next to you at a stoplight is a common and can be a humbling experience. But owners love these big utes and the image they project.
The Hummer was actually a civilian version of a military vehicle called a Humvee. It was huge, lacked basic safety features like side airbags, and was a terrible gas guzzler, with some models getting as little as 10 miles per gallon in the city. As gas prices began to spike in the 2000s and consumers became more conscious of the emissions they were pumping into the atmosphere, demand for Hummers dropped. The last Hummer was produced in 2010, but General Motors has since revived the brand as an all-electric vehicle.
It's really going to show the way of the capability and recreate the franchise that we have today in internal combustion engines into the EV world.
Number 26. Blockbuster. we know there's technically still one Blockbuster left in Bend, Oregon.
In downtown Bend, Oregon, you can find the last Blockbuster on Earth.
It even released a viral ad on Instagram during Super Bowl 57. But aside from that, this once great video rental store has gone the way of the VCR, much like its competitor Hollywood Video. Founded in 1985, Blockbuster was a staple of family movie nights for decades. It started with tapes before expanding to DVD and video game rentals. At its height, it had more than 9,000 locations around the globe. But as you might guess, competition from Netflix and other streaming services eventually spelled the end.
When Blockbuster originally filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy about 6 months ago, it said it would keep all 3,300 stores open. But tonight, as you can see at this Easttown store, it just could not survive.
The craziest part is that Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix for just $50 million in 2000 and turned it down. Bad move, Blockbuster. Number 25, Napster. If you were old enough to be on the internet in 1999, you were on Napster. It was the original peer-to-peer service for sharing MP3s, and it was huge.
It's going into like a candy store. You've got thousands of songs, anything you want, as much as you want.
Although it could take hours to download a single song using dial-up internet, that didn't stop music lovers from building a collection of thousands of tracks. The service was so popular that it often jammed up college dorms' networks, and with some experts estimating that the music downloads made up 60% of online traffic at the time.
We will have to say you can either stop doing this or we'll have to disconnect the service.
Of course, all of these songs were copyrighted, and creators weren't too happy with their work being shared for free. In 2000, Metallica and Dr. Dre sued the service for copyright infringement, and by mid-2001, it was forced to shut down. Number 24, RadioShack. If your dad or grandpa was really into ham radio back in the day, you probably visited a RadioShack at least once.
I don't really know what RadioShack sells.
I guess that's the problem. I mean, electronics parts.
The electronics retailer started in 1921 as a mail-order business for amateur radio hobbyists. It slowly expanded to 9 large stores, but that model didn't work well for the brand, and by the 1960s, it was in financial trouble. Charles Tandy of Tandy Leather Goods bought it out in 1962 and reorganized it from a few big locations to multiple small ones. As technology evolved, RadioShack started carrying computers, telephones, and VCRs.
Their struggle hasn't been the real estate. Their struggle has been what to put in the stores, and they have continued to make some boneheaded decisions or just some bad bets.
However, as with so many retailers, online shopping was its demise. It filed for bankruptcy in 2015 and 2017. Some locations remain today, but they bear little resemblance to the original brand. Number 23, Kmart. Like Borders, there are still a few Kmarts out there. In the Virgin Islands and Guam.
So here you have it, the last standing Kmart in the country. So attention Kmart shoppers, there is a blue light special right here on Kendall Drive.
Founded under the name Kresge's in 1899, the first true Kmart opened in San Fernando, California in 1962. Over the next 40 years, it expanded to thousands of stores, and its sales even outpaced Walmart's until 1990. But it was all downhill from there. It filed for bankruptcy in 2002 amidst a scandal in which the chairman and CEO were accused of misleading shareholders while spending the company's money on private jets and luxury yachts. In 2004, it merged with competitor Sears, but sales continued to decline.
Kmart sales went into freefall from $16 billion in 2009 to $5.8 billion in 2018.
In 2018, Sears Holdings filed for bankruptcy, and by 2024, nearly every Kmart and Sears location had closed. Number 22, RCA. Founded in 1919, the Radio Corporation of America was the biggest name in electronics manufacturing for years. It even started the first nationwide broadcast network, the National Broadcast Company, better known today as NBC.
The TRK-12's debut launched NBC's scheduled programming and an industry that would transform the world.
When television came along, RCA jumped into that venture too. It showed off its first TV at the 1939 World's Fair and started experimental television broadcasts from NBC studios the same year. RCA remained profitable until the 80s, when General Electric bought it out for around $6 billion. GE promised that RCA operations would continue as usual, but that didn't happen.
RCA Audio, careful, it'll even make your parents' music sound great.
Instead, the new owners broke up the company and sold it for parts. It turned out that General Electric had bought RCA just to get its hands on NBC. Number 21. F.W. Woolworth Company. Australian viewers might be wondering what Woolworths is doing on this list, but we're not talking about the supermarket chain down under.
Woolworths have so much more for you.
We're referring to the American company started by Frank Winfield Woolworth in 1879. For more than a century, Woolworths was a cornerstone of American retail. It found early success by selling goods at ultra-competitive prices. By 1912, it had almost 600 locations across the eastern U.S. In the 80s, it expanded into malls, opening smaller stores that specialized in sporting goods, jewelry, and more. This move away from its original format would be Woolworth's undoing. It began neglecting its department store operations, which were outpaced by competitors. In 1997, the company announced it would close the last of its U.S. locations.
The retailer in March 1997 was pulled from the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It was a slow and sad fall from grace for a retailer that started all the way back in 1879.
Number 20. Worlds of Wonder.
Hi, I'm Teddy Ruxpin. Welcome to Worlds of Wonder and to the dawn of a brand new era in the evolution of toys.
After conquering the toy market with products like Laser Tag and the Teddy Ruxpin Bear, Worlds of Wonder earned exclusive retail sales and distribution for the uber-popular NES system.
It's a look that generates excitement and stimulates sales for the entire Nintendo product line.
The money was flowing until suddenly it wasn't. The unprecedented surge in video game sales quickly dwarfed the profits of traditional toys. Then Nintendo decided not to renew their distribution deal, leaving Worlds of Wonder without a leg, or in this case, a product to stand on. The stock crash of 1987 was the final nail in the coffin, and the company shut its doors for good. Both the Teddy Ruxpin and Laser Tag sets have continued on in various forms, just not with Worlds of Wonder.
Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin.
Number 19. Vertu. Evidently, the lifestyles of the rich and famous did not include Vertu. From their inception, the luxury phones were manufactured with an emphasis on style over function. And to be fair, they definitely succeeded in becoming a status symbol, but only because they were so ridiculously expensive. Only the richest of the rich could afford one.
Working with Google, we can now offer contemporary performance products, which has attracted a younger audience to the brand.
Since Vertu phones also lacked features like GPS and Bluetooth, many felt the hefty price tag wasn't worth it. Following years of messy finances, the company officially went under in 2017. Now that they're off the market, Vertu phones have ironically become the commodity the company always wanted them to be.
Working with Android has allowed us to build contemporary, powerful products for people looking for that everyday smartphone, but just that little bit extra bit of refinement or exclusivity.
Number 18. Alta Motors.
I think the doors are going to fly open for areas this bike can go, perform, compete, and that's going to open up, I think, a whole new avenue of rider.
The saddest part of this closure is that it had nothing to do with the product itself. Despite an overwhelmingly positive response, Alta Motors electric bikes just weren't selling enough to keep the lights on. Their biggest issue may have been the continuing controversy between electric and gas-powered engines. In fact, Alta Motors bikes were banned from several official races for that very reason.
First started hearing about them a year and a half ago and just kind of seeing tidbits here and there of the bike, and honestly thought it was the most legit looking electric dirt bike that I'd seen up to the point.
As a result, price cuts and new models were only Band-Aid fixes for their unsustainable cash flow. When 2 partnership deals fell through, the company was left severely strapped for funds and eventually ceased operations altogether in 2018 after just 8 years of business.
I think that there's definitely a future for them. Whether it overtakes all the gas-powered bikes, that's yet to be seen.
Number 17, Mercury Automobile.
There's not a sharp corner in sight, and the drag coefficient of 0.32 makes this the slipperiest American sedan yet.
70 years is a pretty good run for any car division, especially one that never found a consistent buyer base. See, initially, the Mercury division of Ford was created as a mid-priced alternative to their other models. However, over the years, it underwent more rebrands and redesigns than you can count on one hand. It's been a race car, a sports vehicle, an economy ride, and more. They tried targeting it to men, and then to young drivers, and then to women.
This is a great find. They're a great find. Award-winning safety ratings. A brand new hybrid.
While these shifts occurred gradually across decades, the shufflings eventually began to limit the car's appeal instead of widen it. By 2010, the continuously declining sales forced Ford to put the Mercury brand in park permanently.
Imagine that.
Imagine yourself in a Mercury.
Number 16, Pebble.
The idea was brought to life by people like you just a few months ago, and we're proud to say that Pebble is now ready for prime time.
These days, a smartwatch that connects to your phone isn't that crazy of an idea. But back in 2014, Pebble burst onto the scene as one of the first to put it into practice. The results were instantaneous. At the time, the smartwatch was the most funded project in Kickstarter history.
Your incredible support helped Pebble smash Kickstarter records not once, but twice, and ushered in a revolution in wearable technology.
Unfortunately, after that amazing start, Pebble dropped like a stone. Amid shaky marketing and an unclear vision, the company consistently failed to hit sales goals. That, when paired with growing competition from the Apple Watch, spelled doom for the luxury armwear. The company shut down in 2016 and, interestingly enough, was acquired by Fitbit, who did not take on any of Pebble's debt.
It's focused. It's not a miniature smartphone on your wrist. It's designed from the ground up to be a truly smart watch.
Number 15, Solyndra.
Panels can be cost-effectively installed on typical big box retail, warehouse, and other light industrial roofs not designed to support significant rooftop loads.
On paper, Solyndra's high-class solar panels were cheaper, sturdier, and more efficient than anything else on the market. The pitch proved so enticing, they even garnered government support via a massive loan from the U.S. Department of Energy. However, Solyndra's lead didn't last long.
There were going to be some companies that did not work out. Solyndra was one of them. But the process by which the decision was made was on the merits.
Within a few years of its creation, the price of natural gas nosedived, removing any financial incentive to invest in renewable energy. As a result, Solyndra's abrupt bankruptcy was about as ugly as it could get, including a full-blown government investigation into their purported excessive spending and misrepresentation of finances. While they've never been officially charged with any wrongdoing, something tells us Solyndra won't be making more solar panels anytime soon.
Everybody figured, okay, this company can't fail.
Number 14, McCall's. If you read magazines in the 1900s, odds are you read McCall's. While its first issue technically dates back to 1873, it wasn't until the 20th century that it became mandatory reading. As the so-called first magazine for women, McCall's featured sewing patterns, short stories, home improvement tips, and more. You don't just have to take our word for it, though. These numbers speak for themselves. At its peak, McCall's had an unprecedented readership north of 8 million. With that kind of support, it's really no wonder it survived more than a century in print. Unfortunately, stiff competition over the years slowly whittled down its audience. In 2002, it shipped its final issue. Number 13, Zune.
This is actually showing a photograph right here. I can flip through the photos here. 3-inch screen, pretty bright, pretty sharp.
In 2006, Microsoft went up against Apple's behemoth, the iPod, and lost. Badly, In their defense, the Zune portable media players had plenty of potential. They had functionality with the popular Xbox 360, innovative social features, and even a partnership with United Airlines. But despite all of that corporate support, Zune failed to make a splash in the market.
Experience the ease of Quick Play, which puts your favorite media at your fingertips.
In the 6 years it stayed on shelves, it consistently sold less than its competitors, let alone the juggernaut that was the iPod. While several reviews praised its HD features, that wasn't enough to move the bottom line, and Microsoft discontinued production in 2012.
Finding music on your player is pretty easy. There are several different ways to do it. If you want to search by letter, you can do that here. We're looking for Most Def.
Number 12, Theranos.
People don't even know that they have a basic human right to be able to get access to information about themselves and their own bodies.
Around the turn of the century, Elizabeth Holmes founded a revolutionary breakthrough for the healthcare industry. Theranos, as it was called, created a technology that could perform rapid blood tests requiring very little of a sample at a fraction of the cost. Mesmerized by the innovation, Holmes' net worth skyrocketed to $4.5 billion. The only issue? It was all a lie.
Our dream for Theranos is that every single day, someone's life is better because they can afford access to health information they couldn't afford before.
Theranos' supposed science was flimsy at best and a complete fabrication at worst. The company and its incredible funding both went down in flames, but that was the least of Holmes' issues. She still faced multiple counts of fraud and was later sentenced to 11 years in prison. Given all that, don't expect Theranos to resurface ever again.
We were trying to take this forward, and at that time, we thought that we were doing the right thing.
Number 11, Vine.
You only have 6 seconds to get the setup for the joke and the punchline. I think people who are watching it, sometimes they don't have the time to sit down and watch a 5-minute YouTube video.
In just 6 seconds, this video looping app took the world by storm. Its short-form content was the very definition of addictive, and because of that, Vine's viral videos quickly became a staple of pop culture. However, it wasn't long before rivaling social media platforms got in on the trend. When the likes of Instagram, YouTube, and Snapchat added their own video sharing features, Vine lost its reason to be, and most of its user base too.
Right, so they're kind of shifting what Vine currently is into a new Vine camera situation.
By 2017, the app shut down altogether. At the very least, a comprehensive archive of its many videos still exists, ensuring we'll never forget that it is Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Number 10, Tab. When someone says they want a tab, it usually means they're going to order more at an establishment and want to keep a tally so they can pay later.
Give me a tab.
Tab? I can't give you a tab unless you order something.
Right, give me a Pepsi free.
You want a Pepsi, pal? You're gonna pay for it.
Look, just give me something without any sugar in it, okay?
Not for Coca-Cola. In 1963, they introduced their very first diet beverage known as Tab. Considered very popular in the 60s and 70s, they spawned various flavors of the drink, including root beer and ginger ale.
Tab's outrageously satisfying.
Yet when Diet Coke hit the market in 1982, Tab started to take a hit. The company began producing less and less of it as interests shifted, and Coke eventually announced in 2020 they were discontinuing the brand. There are, however, pockets of places here and there that still carry the cult favorite as of this writing, but those are rare and the soft drink is pretty much retired.
Petition to save Tab was signed by several thousand people, but to no avail. Coke is putting Tab on ice.
Number 9, Bugle Boy.
Excuse me. Are those Bugle Boy jeans that you're wearing?
Oh, yes. They are Bugle Boy jeans.
Thank you.
Fun fact, Bugle Boy founder William C.W. Mao actually started his entrepreneurial career in electrical engineering. When outed from his company due to an SEC inquiry, Mao shifted gears and started making clothing.
But you gotta start somewhere. I mean, take your clothes, for example. If you just get out of that monkey suit, you might get a positive attitude going. I mean, the world could be your oyster.
Best known for their jeans and earworm-inducing commercials, Bugle Boy was also responsible for one of the surprising trends of the 1980s, parachute pants.
Parachute pants?
Yeah.
Does everybody parachute?
Between the denim trousers and the ballooning slacks, the company sold nearly $1 billion worth of product. Despite its success, the company had difficulty staying up with the ever-changing trends of youth culture. They eventually went bankrupt in 2001.
Excuse me, are those Bugle Boy jeans?
Number 8. Compaq. Founded in the early 80s, this thriving computer company sold IBM PC-compatible devices, with PC standing for personal computer under their own name.
So, if you're looking for a powerful portable computer that doesn't smell, we suggest you buy the Compaq Portable 2. Of course, choice. Sorry, I was miles away. Of course, the choice is yours.
A few notable devices included one of the first portable computers and the Compaq Presario, which featured a long line of desktop and laptop computers. By 1994, they had lapped IBM and Apple in the home computer market.
The most powerful PC in the world, the most powerful portable in the world, and the most powerful mid-range PCs in the world all have one thing in common. They come from the company whose annual sales reached $1 billion, faster than any other in history.
However, with the market shifting and some bad management decisions, Compaq's star began to fall. In 2002, they were acquired by Hewlett-Packard, and the last Compaq-branded devices were discontinued in 2013. Number 7. Pontiac.
Pontiac. We build excitement.
In the 1920s, GM discovered a major price gap between their Chevrolet and Oakland-branded vehicles, prompting the birth of the 1926 Pontiac. By 1929, the Pontiacs were outselling the Oaklands enough that they discontinued the latter in 1931. Since then, Pontiac grew to become a major success for GM. Notable entries include the '69 Pontiac GTO, the Grand Am, the Fiero, and the Firebird Trans Am.
Firebird, you're ready to fly.
However, the turn of the century was not good for GM as they faced bankruptcy.
In a bid to rescue GM, the US government will be investing $30 billion in the company on top of the $20 billion already lent to it.
Having already taken Oldsmobile out of the picture in 2004, Pontiac largely saw its end in 2009 when the company pulled the plug on the long-standing brand in an effort to keep themselves afloat.
But we just didn't have a strategy that we were satisfied with that could allow us to win with the Pontiac brand.
Number 6. Kudos.
Simply nutritious, outrageously delicious. Kudos, I'm yours.
Candy bars come and go, but some have stood the test of time. Mars, Kit Kat, and Twix are just a few who've hung on over the years. Kudos, on the other hand, did not. It was a granola bar snack introduced by Mars in 1986 with a Simply Kudos offshoot that was meant to address the high calorie count in the original.
You love the whole grain crunch and nuts in every bite.
Oddly enough, in 2017, a post on the company's Facebook page confirmed the brand had been discontinued. No official reason has ever been given, and the fans of the granola snack were left scratching their heads. All may not be lost, as Mars apparently re-registered the brand trademark in 2020. Maybe we'll see it again someday. Number 5. Orbitz. We have no idea what this company was thinking when they released their beverage back in 1997, but to no one's surprise, it didn't last. Made as a clear, non-carbonated fruit drink, Orbitz became infamous for the reaction it spawned from onlookers. If it had been released today, we're sure the likes of YouTube and TikTok would be filled with reaction videos of people trying to figure out exactly what the orbs floating in the drink were. Not only did it look like a lava lamp to go, the drink itself tasted poorly, and the orbs were apparently even worse. This is a drink we, thankfully, kicked into orbit. Number 4. Netscape Navigator.
She was 18 years old.
She doesn't even know what Netscape is.
Unless you used the internet in the 90s or recognized the icon from a quick scene in Captain Marvel, you've probably never heard of this browser. At a time when the World Wide Web was just starting out, web browsers were few and far between. Netscape reigned king for a while until Microsoft came onto the scene and the browser wars began.
You can get unlimited internet access for only $9.95 a month.
Well, what about all those other low-cost guys, like...
Don't you want an ISP that's fast, safer, reliable, and more secure?
Netscape won the first few rounds, but by the time Internet Explorer 3.0 and 4.0 came out, Netscape was already lagging behind. And it didn't help that Microsoft included Explorer with every version of Windows.
Everything has to change faster, obviously. You know, look at Netscape. It was born and died. I don't want to use the word died, they wouldn't like that word, but it basically was born and overtaken within 4 years. That's pretty fast.
Netscape came to an end in 2007, but left JavaScript as a legacy since it's used by virtually every web page out there. Number 3, Enron.
There's one thing that I hope we can achieve. It is to create an environment where our employees can come in here and realize their potential. It's a wild ride.
Enron is a name that went down in history as one of the biggest financial scandals to rock the United States. Known mainly as an energy company, Enron grew by leaps and bounds as it began to diversify its portfolio beyond just the basics of energy. Sure, that all sounds great as many companies broaden out.
That's our vision. We're trying to change the world.
The problem for Enron was that as large as they were, much of their financial success was due to creative accounting. In basic terms, they said they were doing fine, all the while hiding massive debts and liabilities from everyone.
I understand how upper management would allow...
It's because Enron actually used the same estimates in their earning reports, which magically transform themselves into revenue, which translates directly into higher stock prices for investors.
And higher bonuses and stock option payouts for execs.
Everybody wins.
They filed for bankruptcy in 2001, and a full investigation into their practices was launched.
Like most things that end terribly, it didn't start out that way. It started with a lot of people who thought they were changing the world, and over time they became victims of their own hubris, victims of their own greed, and so it's like taking so much promise and possibility and looking at it in a mirror and seeing the flip side reflected back at you.
Number 2, Kodak.
Life is filled with moments just waiting to be taken.
Trademarked in 1888, Kodak is a name synonymous with photography. For years, the term Kodak moment referred to a perfect instant to capture in a photo.
Aren't all your moments worth Kodak film?
Kodak cameras hit the market shortly after the company was formed and became the de facto standard for all things photography for decades. In 1975, they produced the world's first digital camera, but scrapped it for fear of losing their film camera business.
It's sort of the classic innovator's dilemma problem. If you have this great cash cow, which is your film camera business, and you're one of the dominant players there, you're reluctant to totally disrupt it yourself.
Company executives held the line on film photography, but did eventually give in and join the digital revolution, which helped the company for a short time. A combination of both market growth, the explosion of the smartphone, and other competitors eventually pushed Kodak out of photography, and it now only operates as a print company after filing for bankruptcy in the early 2010s.
For years, the company's advertisements urged people to seize the Kodak moment to capture memories. Now it looks like Kodak has let its moment pass it by.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Pan Am.
Say hello to a brand new world. Say hello to Pan Am.
Air travel in the mid-20th century was a whole other world. Pan American World Airways, or Pan Am, practically held a monopoly on international travel at the time. They were also responsible for shifting the types of aircraft being flown to much larger planes, such as the Boeing 747. They had an advanced collection, top-notch service, and were not owned by any government entity.
It was second to none. I don't think you'd even see it in some of the finest restaurants.
That state-of-the-art fleet of planes ultimately hurt them, however, when the 1973 oil crisis struck. No one was flying, and the company was taking a hit. Their accumulating debt and failure to adapt to an ever-changing industry saw them sell off their assets to various other airlines as they went under in 1991.
It broke people's hearts, really. Not just the people that work for the airline, but for many other people that flew it and knew it. And it was the flagship airline of America.
Which of these major brands would you like to see make a comeback? Let us know in the comments below.